we are going to take this, which is a painting. This is actually an oil painting that was made from a photograph, and we are going to sketch it just with pencil and try to capture those different values. Okay, first thing, you're going to get a black and white copy of the picture. You can see that immediately makes it so much easier to recognize all the different tones and values, and how you're going to have the full value scale here. You're going to have spots that are the whitest that they can be and spots that are the blackest that they can be. Overall, it has kind of a medium tone, but we will work in all of those tones. Okay. Step one is you're going to attach the tracing paper to your picture. So just take a piece of tracing paper, tape it right over the picture so that the picture is kind of in the middle of it. Okay, step two, you're going to trace the major shapes, including the edges of the shadows, and then also trace the edge of the image. So you can go up to the window if it will help, and just with your pencil, trace these edges, trace all the way around so you know where the picture is. Trace the big shapes that make up the pear and the areas where the shadows are. Okay, so like right there. Here's the table and the little folds that are in the tablecloth as well. So when you get that all completely traced, it's going to look like this. Then transfer it to just a plain white piece of paper. So you've got a nice white background and you can see what's going on there. Then get your original and set it next to you. And the next step is to try to duplicate all of these values into here. Okay, so if we look at this black and white version of this image, it is mostly a middle tone. If we look at this next to a value scale, we'll say that 0 is the white of the paper, the whitest you can possibly get using the media that you have. And then we can go all the way down to 10, which is the darkest. This should be a little bit darker. You know, photocopiers sometimes don't copy really well. So this would be the darkest you can get with your media. So for example, a 9B pencil would get very, very dark. It might not get as dark if you're just using a regular type of number 2 HB pencil. So what we want to do is get everything on this value scale that we see here and try to duplicate it exactly. One shortcut you can use, since this background is kind of, I don't know, about a 5 or a 6 on the value scale. The tablecloth, it's got various shades, but it's about a 3 to a 4 on the value scale. Let's just go ahead and start by covering the entire scene with a light shade of graphite. So let's not worry about any of the whites or blacks up front, and let's just take a nice big stick of graphite and we will just rub that all over the picture nice and evenly and get a good mid-tone. Okay, so you can still see the lines of my picture. I haven't completely lost them, but I've coated everything once over with that graphite. And now I am going to take my tortillon, my blending stump or blending stick, and just start blending all of that out so it makes a nice smooth background. Because in the original picture, this is really flat and smooth. So we want to try to duplicate that. So I'll just go ahead and do that all for the background and in most of the places on the tablecloth. I've got those areas smoothed out. I did the background and then these darker areas on the tablecloth and got those kind of blended in with my tortillon. I'll probably want to go over this whole background one more time with a light coat of graphite just to make sure everything looks smooth. And you can just work, you can work back and forth. You can do some dark, you can do some light, you could do some mid-tone, come back to it. What I would recommend next is going in and finding everything that you could call truly black, all the very, very darkest spots. And there's just going to be a few right here, maybe right here, right here. And go ahead and get those put into this drawing. And also the areas that you would call white. Most of you should have a kneaded eraser. So I like to take a piece of that and lift off the areas of white. Okay, so with my kneaded eraser, I can see that the light is coming from the left there, and I want to pick that up off the pears. And I can still see, just faintly, where I drew the line that goes between the shadow side and the highlight side. So that's going to give me some guidance as to where I go with this. So I can just start picking up that color. I'm sorry, this is really hard to do with one hand. I'll start picking up some of that color. And you can rub just like a conventional eraser, or you can also just press and lift, and it will pull some of the color out. So just continue doing that. Get your blackest blacks and whitest whites established on your drawing. And then you can go in and just kind of work with those midtones and see where everything needs to go.